James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel? You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there. I'm not your Mary.
I have one of these. They're like it's like a gummy Krabby Patty, but it's like a thick one, and it's basically the size of like a fucking slider, like a cheeseburger slider. But you can't eat it the way that you would like a cheeseburger. Actually,
Taping again?
any cheeseburger that's like that difficult to bite into, you probably shouldn't be eating it to begin with. This setup is just temporary, so don't freak out about it. It's just like I needed something to have behind me, and my office at the new place isn't quite set up yet. So we're just doing it. I was like, well, I'll just throw it behind this, and we can just do it like this.
Please promise you'll take me again.
Some of these Funko Pops aren't even like really cool, so don't think I'm putting it behind here to show off my fucking Christmas Winnie the Pooh. Like, okay, this isn't even a Dante Graves thing. I'm Devin today. I'm not Dante Graves, because Dante Graves does not own Winnie the Pooh Funko Pops. Well, maybe he does. I don't know. But this is an off storyline video because there's been a lot of drama lately, and I wanted to talk about it. Not involving me. There's no drama involving me. Oh, look, I made myself laugh. There's been a lot of drama lately involving the new Silent Hill game.
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill.
Which I never talk about video games here, but it's like horror adjacent, and this is a horror channel, so I feel like it'd be it's fine if I talk about this, I think. And also, I'm a ride or die Silent Hill dick rider, so I definitely have an opinion about this. And I've even had some really negative interactions with people on the internet involving this new Silent Hill stuff. So basically, if you're not in the know, if you're just jumping in here because, the guy who makes the Dante Graves show is going to talk about Silent Hill, then let's backtrack a bit, okay? So Silent Hill obviously is a horror survival video game series. There was Silent Hill, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 4, The Room, and that one was like kind of like splitting off in this other direction, but it was still made by what's called Team Silent. I don't know why I did this. It's just an actual term for the people that made those first 4 games. Team Silent then kind of broke up and stuff. I don't know the exact specifics of it, so I know somebody's gonna come in the comments and be like,
well, if you don't know that, then you don't have the right to talk about the new Silent Hill games.
I don't care. I just know that Team Silent only made the first 4. And that team of the people that did the music and the people that did the story and like all of the creative elements of Silent Hill, that then dissipated. And then everyone else after that for Silent Hill Homecoming and Downpour and Shattered Memories and fucking Origins, all of that shit was different people trying to kind of pick up where Team Silent left off. And a lot of these things were also influenced by the Silent Hill movie that came out. Now, do I have it? I'm sure I have that on here somewhere. I'm not going to try and find it. It's on this shelf somewhere. If you could find it, let me know. It might also be below here, so don't then say, well, I looked and you don't have it, so you're a fucking liar. No, I'm not a liar. I am. But I'm not lying about this. I own this movie. Silent Hill movie came out, and I actually didn't hear about Silent Hill as a kid until I had Underworld Evolution on DVD. And when I was a kid, I'd get so bored after watching a movie so many times, so I would watch, they used to, in old DVDs, you'd have trailers for other movies on a DVD. And I loved watching trailers. I loved breaking down, one, if I wanted to watch the movie that was in, but also even if I didn't like the movie, I would like to watch the trailer just to study the editing on it. I don't know, it's like I have a passion for a well-done trailer. There's lots of things that you can go into critiquing those. I'm getting way off track here. That's what you come to me for. The Silent Hill trailer was on Underworld Evolution, and among other things. There was also a trailer for like Ultraviolet, which is a movie I don't think anyone remembers, but that trailer with that song 24 by Gem really like stuck in my mind, and then I had to seek out the movie, and then I watched the movie, and I have that movie too. It's probably on here somewhere. God, if I could just like go, here it is, then wouldn't that be so cool? But I don't know, it's on there somewhere. The trailer for the Silent Hill movie changed me as a kid. I didn't know what to think about it. I couldn't process how scary it looked, how intrigued I was, and it didn't come at you with like horror jump scare kind of stuff. It was more of like the tone that the trailer had, like a mother going into hell to get her daughter back. That's obviously something that's primal, that everyone can relate to. And so then I needed to see that movie. And I didn't get to see it until years later, but it was years later once I had also then had access to the internet, and I was able to watch people play through the Silent Hill games. Now, I know someone's gonna say,
oh, well, since you just got into it through the internet.
You just got into it through the internet, you didn't actually play these games when they came out on a PS2. That's not fair. It's not fair. And we're gonna get into why. Actually, I'll just tell you right now it's not fair, because these games are fucking expensive, okay? I've only ever gotten to play with my own hands through Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, and then Silent Hill Homecoming, and then Origins on my PSP, okay? And I didn't get to beat Origins or Homecoming. And a lot of people would say that doesn't even fucking matter, because there's only 4 Silent Hill games. Now, I think most reasonable people will tell you that the first 4 games are the best. I think where people get unreasonable is when they just disavow absolutely everything after those 4 games. There are people who disavow everything other than Silent Hill 2 and 3. Like, there are insane people out there that are so fucking purist to a weird extent about certain aspects of the Silent Hill franchise. And I think that's why Silent Hill, there's a big reason Silent Hill has not grown to the heights that like Resident Evil has, which I'm also a big Resident Evil fan, but we're not talking about Resident Evil today. We're talking about Silent Hill. I think it's because Konami doesn't give a shit. And Konami, like, almost actively tried to kill this franchise for some weird reason. And then there was a big dry spell where we were only either getting shitty games, a shitty movie, or fucking, like, a pachinko machine. I'm surprised that when they announced more Silent Hill stuff, they didn't announce, like, Silent Hill kart racing. That would be kind of cool, actually. But, that's not what we're talking about. Konami killed this franchise, but I think that the franchise fan base has grown, but also not grown as much as it could have because of these purist people that want Silent Hill to be something very specific. And they feel like, because they have very intense memories with Silent Hill. And I can relate to it because Zach and I, who played Barry on the show, I remember there was a day where it was summer. I knew about Silent Hill because I watched like videos about it, and I'd obviously seen the movies and things like that. And I was like, hey, let's go up to a place called JCD and Hobby, which is actually where I work at in real life. And they sell like old secondhand video games and action figures and movies and stuff like that. And we bought Silent Hill 2 on PlayStation 2 for I think about $30, maybe a little bit less than that because I was tight with the people that worked there. And I bought a PS2 that day also, just to be able to play this game. And I eventually kept that PS2 for a while, and I played through like Ratchet and Clank and fucking Resident Evil 4 and all sorts of like essential things, God of War. We played through Silent Hill 2 from beginning to end together. And it's my favorite memory ever playing a video game. This game was so fucking scary. I remember we opened it up in the manual, and someone had written in the notes section of the manual said, "Prepare to shit yourself." And we thought that was so funny. But then I remember we like sitting in my grandparents' basement on the big fucking TV, and we turned off all the lights, and we played that shit for like hours that night. And we would always get together, and we made an agreement not to touch the game unless the other person was there, so that we could play through it from beginning to end with each other. And we got the leave ending, which I think most people get on their first playthrough of that game. But it was just something so meaningful to me, because the game hit me at a time in my life that I really needed something like that, and I already knew pretty much everything about the game, but even then still, when you play it, it's a whole different ballpark. And Silent Hill, no matter which form that people interact with it in, whether it be a movie trailer or the movie itself, or any of the fucking games, for the most part, any of the games. There are definitely some that I don't think are worth the Silent Hill title. I'd say like Downpour, maybe. Downpour even has some elements that are kind of cool, but it's bad. And Homecoming too. But most people that interact with Silent Hill, even to a little extent, they remember how it made them feel, and they remember the place in their life that they were in when they first encountered it, and they remember it forever. I have friends that don't play video games, just as a rule, and they love the Silent Hill movie. And I remember any day at school where it was like foggy out, the first thing that would come to people's mind is like, oh, it looks like Silent Hill. You know what I mean? And it's not just the subtext and the story and the music and all these things that leave an impression on people. It's literally just that aesthetic too. But the aesthetic is just the wrapping that hides in all the fucking psychological horror shit that we're going to talk about. But basically, this franchise, I think, could have been so much bigger than it is, because just the minute people hear that name, Silent Hill, and they hear that music of any of the tracks, they're all fucking awesome. It's that trip hop music. There's a great video out there explaining like how Akira Yamaoka was able to create that music. I think it's Akira Yamaoka, I'm pretty sure. But whoever the fuck it was that made the music, they were a fucking genius, you know? And all they really had to do was build off of this already existing genre. But like, a lot of people were only ever exposed to trip hop music through Silent Hill. And it's so intrinsic to Silent Hill's DNA as a series. You know what I'm saying? So, either way, this franchise could have gotten so much bigger if not for Konami and if not for gatekeeping purist fans, okay? Because I have always said that Silent Hill is a place, but it is mostly a state of mind, which is evidenced by stuff like Silent Hill 4: The Room, that's not even in Silent Hill, but it feels so much like it shares all of the DNA with those first 3 games that came before it, that you're like, yeah, this is a Silent Hill game. And I know that it's a town that's like neighboring Silent Hill, but still, it's not literally in Silent Hill, but you never for a minute question whether or not you're playing a Silent Hill game, because it's a state of mind, you know what I'm saying? And even those weaker Silent Hill games, they have moments where they get the job done. You know, if they had a team that just cared a little bit more, we might have something really special, because there's no video game franchise or movie franchise or whatever that I think truly cannot be recreated on any way by a different team picking up where they left off. I think Silent Hill just got handed into the wrong hands, okay? Because Resident Evil is something that's really specific. The first one with the mansion and all that shit happening. But it's reinvented itself and blah, blah, blah. But something like Resident Evil 7 comes out and brings us back to that feeling of claustrophobia, and you're stuck in one location and it's just this big sprawling house that you have to explore, and you can recreate that feeling. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one replica, but you can get there. Silent Hill, though, fans have been starved. Fucking starved. Because like I said, we've had a terrible movie and a bunch of terrible games and a fucking pachinko machine for like over a decade. And PT came out, and I never got to play that, but obviously, like everyone else and their fucking dog, got to watch people play it on YouTube and dissect it through there, because you don't have to literally be playing it in order to be a fan of it. That's the thing about video games now, with the advent of YouTube and Let's Plays and all this kind of stuff, and streaming, people can, like, partake in video games without having to actually play them, because it's the story and stuff that really matters, you know? Yes, it's more immersive if you're there playing it, which is why it sucks that these games are so fucking outrageously expensive, because nobody else can play them. And I am kicking myself forever for selling my copies of Silent Hill 2 and 3 for the PlayStation 2, and my PlayStation 2 along with its entire library. Because then after that, they like shot up in value, and if I ever wanted to revisit them, I just can't. It sucks. And they're not available on like anything else. The HD collection does not count. Basically, I don't know if I made any sense to somebody that's not already a fan of this stuff, but they had something called the Silent Hill Transmission recently. Recently as in like a few months ago. I think it was like September or October, I don't remember. And I was so nervous and so excited at the same time. And the Silent Hill Transmission, I think, was awesome. I think they put a lot of effort into it. They really put their best foot forward to say, hey, we're taking this franchise seriously again. We care about it again. We want you guys to care about it. And for the people that already do care about it, we want you to know that you're in good hands. Now look, I don't know nothing about Bloober Team. And I've looked into them because of Silent Hill 2. And I'm like, well, I want to know that these people are trustworthy. And yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I've heard things about these other games and I'm like, ugh. And you gave them the greatest horror survival game of all time, Silent Hill 2? Why? God, but here's the thing. There are people now that have come out of the woodwork because of these announcements that are very firm that you can't do it, that you shouldn't even try. You're an idiot. I'm serious. I have no respect for the opinion of we shouldn't even be bothering, because Silent Hill 2 is outrageously difficult for somebody to find and play now. And even if they did find it, to a younger demographic that's like their first fucking horror survival game, like a true horror survival game, might have been Resident Evil 7 or the remake of Resident Evil 2, they ain't gonna get down with what Silent Hill 2 has to offer. That game is in need of a facelift. I love it, and I'm able to look past how dated it is because I grew up around PlayStation 2 and GameCube and shit like that. I had an N64 while other kids had an Xbox 360. I didn't get an Xbox 360 until an Xbox One came out. That's how I was so far behind. So I'm fine with older games. But I also understand that if we want people to be able to experience the story and the tone and the characters of Silent Hill 2, we ain't going to be able to do it if we don't remaster this in some capacity. Now, yes, I would obviously support them just porting Silent Hill, like the first 4 games, to a modern console, but they're not going to do that. That's just not how video games work. We might be able to do that and like maybe improve the frame rate or something, but like that's just not going to have legs is the thing. So I do think the time has come for Silent Hill 2 to get a remake. All amazing video games that are timeless classics like Silent Hill 2 have gotten remakes by now. Silent Hill 2 is way overdue for some kind of new facelift. All right. With that being said, I do understand the fear that any kind of tampering whatsoever with the story is going to be either difficult, if not impossible to do, and have it improve the story in any way. Because Silent Hill 2 already has one of the best stories of any game ever, and it's not really even debatable. I think most people know this. What is debatable, I see comments, so I just said all that, and I do think that's true, but I see comments and stuff where people say, like, this new trailer is already proving to us that Bloober Team is going to just fucking ruin this game. That they're going to just fucking annihilate Silent Hill 2 and there's no point in even doing it. I've heard something like the shot where James is looking in the mirror in the bathroom and they think he's like, his face is just too weird and shit. And I do kind of think that. I'm like, I really liked it that James was like just this weird stoic kind of fucking creep. Like you kind of got the sense that this man is not okay even before he came into this town.
No, I believe you. It's just, I guess I really don't care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going to town either way.
But why?
I'm looking for someone.
Who is it?
Someone very important to me. I'd do anything if I could be with her again.
But, in this, they're going for a different direction where he's kind of just more, like, outwardly expressive because they have the technology to do so. So that was definitely something that was just the detriment of the old game being old. By virtue of it, they had to make him just kind of a stoic guy. And his voice acting and the voice acting of all the other characters was kind of just weird and jilted. Now, I like that because it gives it, like, a dreamlike atmosphere. But if we have the ability to make it more realistic and more immersive for newer players, then let's do it, okay? Because the old game, we're still going to be able to go back and watch those things, and people are going to play this game, and they're going to go look at that game, and they're going to be able to make up their own mind, okay? But let's reinvent this. So they're saying that, he's too expressive. But then one thing I saw was somebody said, like, in the old game, when he's looking in the mirror, his eyes are, like, darkened, okay? And in the new one, you can see his eyes very clearly and see, like, the pain in his eyes. Like there's basically a shadow over his face. And I heard someone say something along the lines of like, they've already proven that they've just fucking completely misunderstood Silent Hill 2 because his eyes are darkened in the old one because he's still blind to the truth about Mary or whatever. Okay. That might be true, but there's also the expression that sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. it could be that, and I do think that there's merit to, like, really dissecting Silent Hill 2 like that. But if we're gonna get fucking nitpicky about every little goddamn change that's like that fucking minuscule about this new game, and then use it as evidence to say that they're just complete idiots that don't understand the game at all, this comes off a lot like that fart-sniffing mentality when, like, Rick and Morty was really blowing up, and there were people saying, like, you have to have an extremely high IQ in order to understand Rick and Morty. I do not want Silent Hill to become that, because Silent Hill is really accessible. As much as people like to think it's this, like, fucking extremely David Lynchian fucking subversive thing, and it is, to an extent, it is also the monsters. It's horror survival. It's I'm running out of bullets. It's the music just being a straight banger after banger. It's the aesthetic and the vibe. I just get a little irritated when I start to see people put Silent Hill in this box and not let it grow and not let other fans come in. And people, you know, there's already discussion that people think the new Dead Space game, that people who just play that one aren't like real Dead Space fans, when that was just their first interaction with it. And video games are not like movies where, like, Just Before Dawn is a fucking super obscure slasher movie. No one has heard of this movie. But with the advent of things like Shudder, this movie got it's streaming on Shudder, I think even still to this day. And so a lot of people have heard about this now. And that's awesome. And you can also buy a DVD and it works on any DVD player. We don't need remakes of things like Just Before Dawn. I mean, you can if you want, but that's not how it works. Video games, though, like, if you are really wanting to play, like, Eternal Darkness, okay, well then pony up the cash for the game, which you're going to be selling a fucking kidney for, and then also you got to procure a GameCube. You have to have this whole other console just to facilitate a game that is, like, in the video game industry, a couple years go by and your game all of a sudden looks like a busted up, broken down piece of shit, you know? So, like, I just don't think it's fair to new players. I don't think it's fair to Silent Hill, and I just think it's also extremely pretentious and annoying to say that it's just impossible to ever recreate the magic that was Silent Hill 2. When I miss this town, I miss this game, I miss James Sunderland, I miss Maria, I miss fucking Eddie. I miss Heather, I miss fucking Harry Mason, I miss Sybil, I miss Sybil a lot, actually. I miss so much things about this world. I just want to be there again. Because Silent Hill is a place, but it's also a state of mind. So can we not just shit on people who are coming into this fandom that's a very passionate fandom? Can we not shit on them just for coming in and getting to know the place? Can we not shit on people just trying to give us an experience that we haven't even seen it yet? We have not seen it yet. We've seen clips that are trying to show us, like, hey, we're being really faithful. It's going to be a one-to-one copy and paste job. We're just updating the gameplay. Which I said to a friend of mine, I would fucking love. I just got done playing through Resident Evil 2's remake. So when Resident Evil 7 came out, I played that, I loved it, and then I sold my PS4 because I'm just not a big gamer. I love horror survival games, I really get into fighting games. Mortal Kombat 11 came out and I fucking hated it, and I was like, okay, well then I guess that's the next fighting game that I was going to be playing for a while, and I didn't like it, and I just wanted to focus on other things. So I sold my PS4 because I worked at a place where I'd easily be able to get another one. And then all of a sudden, Resident Evil 2 Remake comes out, and Resident Evil 3 Remake comes out, and Resident Evil 8 Village comes out, and all these things that I wanted to play. The new God of War game, or fucking Uncharted, whatever. I don't know. All this stuff started coming out that seemed awesome. And I was like, okay, well, the one thing that's going to make me buy a console again would be if they somehow did something new with Silent Hill. And that Silent Hill transmission came out, and we got the announcement that we're getting a new Silent Hill 2. It's going to be a PS5 exclusive. I fucking moved heaven and earth, and I found a PS5, and I own one now, which is why I'm playing video games again. And I'm having a great time. I've missed video games. I have a Nintendo Switch, so I guess the entire time that all that shit was going on, I lied to you. I've been playing Nintendo Switch. What I said to my friend is, I love the Resident Evil 2 remake so much because, one, I'm a really purist guy when it comes to fixed camera angle, tank control Resident Evil. That's my shit. I like Resident Evil 4 a lot, but I don't love it as much as other people do because I really do just like my Resident Evil to be like my favorite Resident Evil ever is the remake of Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube. That's the best one. And they've ported it to every other console since then, and I love that. I love that game is still super accessible to somebody that wants to experience the survival horror of Resident Evil. And it's aged like fucking fine wine. Silent Hill 1, on the other hand, is aged like milk, kind of. It's very hard to access, and it's also, even if you can, it's very hard to access, and even if you accessed it, a lot of people nowadays, it's kind of like a dog chasing a car. You're never going to catch it. Even if you could, you wouldn't know how to drive it. Okay? So let's update these things. So, Silent Hill Transmission, I was excited about the Silent Hill 2 thing, because I said if they just... I didn't think you could make Resident Evil as scary as it used to be with an over-the-shoulder walk while you aim kind of game. And I was wrong, because Resident Evil 2 was really scary, and it was one of the best Resident Evil games ever made. Probably a candidate for the best, just not my personal favorite. The way that they were still able to maintain the fear factor while giving you more mobility and more movement and more clarity of vision and things like that. Like, they didn't have to hide things with fixed camera angles where you walk into a room and you can hear a zombie, but you can't see it even if it's, like, right in front of the character's face. They were able to make the game still really intense and really scary while making me feel like I was in full control of my character. That's an extreme achievement. And I said to my friend, if they could just do Silent Hill 2 like that, just the same story, the same fucking story. I don't want any changes. There's one change I have that I would like to see happen, but we'll get into that in a second. This is the same story, no changes. If they want to add stuff, that's fine. Just don't take anything away. That's what will piss me off. But if you want to add sequences to the game, sure, lengthen it. Give me more bang for my buck, okay? But if they can do that and then put it over my shoulder, give me full control of James Sunderland, but maintain the feeling of every time you reach a creature that you have that claustrophobic, I'm holding a plank of wood and we're in an apartment complex and I'm like backed into a closet and there's a fucking crazy monster coming at me and I just have to fucking brain it to death with my little plank of wood. I want that feeling again. That's what I want. Okay? If they can do that and lift all the music and the story and all these things and make it accessible to new people also and revitalize this franchise, then let's fucking go, man. Let's fucking go. Silent Hill F, I'm really interested to see. I know a lot of people said it reminds them of Fatal Frame because it's got like a Japanese kind of schoolgirl setting. I'm all for it. And like I said, Silent Hill is a place, but it's also a state of mind, so it can happen anywhere. I love that. There were other announcements, but they weren't like full kind of story-based games. There's like multiplayer shit. I don't care about that. I care about Silent Hill 2, and I do care about Silent Hill F. And what I also care about is if Silent Hill 2 is a fucking smash hit success, we can get another one that maybe is Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3, because those two are like really connected to one another storyline-wise. Let's give us both of those in one package. You can call it Silent Hill the fucking Seal of Metatron, or I don't fucking know. Just do something like that, and then you give us Silent Hill The Room as a remake. You know, I want that. I want those games remade, and then continue to make more Silent Hill games. I'd even take a remake of Silent Hill Origins. Seriously. If you can really nail it and make that game fucking good, with the over-the-shoulder stuff, and make it scary, have the same team that hopefully really knocked it out of the park with those other Silent Hill games that haven't come out yet that I was just hypothetically blurting out. Let's go! I want this to be a success. I'm willing to give them a chance. As long as you fucking assholes give them a chance also. I don't really care, actually, if you give them a chance or not. I just want to enjoy the game. Selfishly, I don't care if you like the game. I want to like the game. This isn't me saying like that I can't enjoy it if you guys all shit on it. I'm more just saying, be nice to the fucking people that may not be able to get into the game because you're being an asshole screaming at them that they can't enjoy it because they're too young or didn't experience it when it first came out. Stop. Stop being a fucking purist. Stop being a gatekeeper. That's a real thing. It's very fucking annoying. I don't know. I feel like I said all I needed to say about this. Oh, the one change. This is the last topic I'm going to talk about because this is just like my entire thought process about Silent Hill blurted out at you. The one change I think would be really cool to see happen would be to, one, either have more encounters with Pyramid Head, or that final Pyramid Head boss fight where there's the 2 Pyramid Heads and they kill Maria and kill Maria again, and then you have to fight both of them in like that open setting. What if we change that boss fight to just be 1 Pyramid Head? Because it always felt weird when there was 2 of them when we've only seen 1 the whole game. And I know some fucking motherfucker on here is probably just ripping his hair out of his head saying that there's some significance to there being 2 Pyramid Heads there. That there, I don't know, that there's some subtext to it that I'm not understanding. Look, here's what it looked like to me when I was playing the game. It looked like they're like, you know what? This Pyramid Head guy's a little too easy of a boss fight. What if we just throw a second one in there to make it a bit trickier? That's all it felt like. If they can make Pyramid Head a really scary encounter, and that's also really cool about the old game, but I would also be open to them changing. You don't ever have to lay a fucking hand on Pyramid Head the entire game up until that boss fight at the end where you fight the 2 of them. Because in the first fight, you're able to just kind of run around him. Other times you're just seeing him, or it's a cutscene, or other times you're just running from him. And I like that, but also, if that last fight is more satisfying and cathartic for James to be like putting down the thing that he manifested to punish him or whatever, I would like it to be just a bit more streamlined and not like quite as video gamey. That's like the one part of the game, well, not the only part, but it's just one of the parts of the game that takes me out of the experience because I'm like, okay, this was definitely like a gameplay decision. This wasn't like a story decision. They just made 2 Pyramid Heads. And I know someone, like I said, you're going to say that, oh, well, the Pyramid Head is supposed to look like the Executioner in the fucking painting, and there's nothing saying that there's not more than one of those guys. We only saw one the whole game, and then at the very end of the game, oh, this fusion or whatever, and then there's 2 of them. That's not how fusion works, but you know what I'm saying. It's just like, why is there a pair of them? I'd like to have 1. Okay, we've said enough. I feel better having said all this.